Okay, it's my opportunity today to talk to Han Song, who is with Microvast. They are a battery storage manufacturer, and with him is his colleague in Boston, Gene Hunt, who is, as we like to say, his PR minder.
I don't mind. I don't mind the title.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So Gene is in Boston. Han is in Houston, Texas. And of course, I'm here in glorious Omaha, Nebraska. So we got a three-way going. Great to have you guys with us here. To be honest with you, I've never heard of Microvast. So you guys are going to have to bring me and all of our viewers up to speed. So I don't know which of you wants to take that on, but sort of give me a a 5-minute pitch on who Microvast is.
Sure, no problem. Microvast is actually established in the year of 2006, so that's back to 10 years ago.
Wow.
Our headquarters is now based in Houston, Texas. The reason you don't hear us too much is because most of our activities are happening in China and Europe, not that much in US. We only have, I think we have a relatively small sales team now in here. It's roughly about 8 to 10 people working on the US markets. And just back to 2 or 3 years ago, we started our business. We actually do have some of the projects running in US. Okay. And we have one pilot, let's say a pilot operation in South Burlington, in Vermont, which that's happening in about 2 years ago. Is for energy storage applications. The reason we don't open too much market in US is because our focus is, of course, is battery, and for lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. However, our electric battery, our batteries, our first market is actually the electric buses. Right. Now, we know that in US, the bus market is not that big, so that's why we started our business, growing up in China and in Europe. And at the very first about 3 or 4 years, we actually don't have any product when the company was established. We launched our first product in the year 2009, which is titanate-based chemistry, lithium titanate. We call it LPTO. So that's not new. But what we found out is we actually has a solution to resolve the gassing issue for the lithium titanate chemistry, and that's why we launched those products, and we call it a faster charging product and long cycle life. That is obviously well known for the industry, but at that time, not so many people really understand that technology. So it takes us about almost 2 years to really launch the first batch of a product that is operating on the bus. So in the year of 2011, we launched our first batch of electric buses with our fast charging batteries in China. So that's in the southwestern part of China. It's a city called Chongqing. It's a very hilly area. It's very hot during summertime, and cold in the winter, and a lot of climbing. So because it's a hilly area and the humidity is very high, so that's very challenging to the operation. So fortunately, we have very good product. So it's been operating for almost 6 years so far, and the result is pretty nice. And we don't see any dramatic drop. It's only about 7 to 8% of capacity job during the 6 years of operation. Oh wow! The first batch is about six buses in total. Yeah. But eventually, we just growing up those numbers in Chongqing. So the another number is roughly like 1,700 buses in Chongqing, and all using the LPTO. We call the LPTO technology. So at the year of 2014, we entered in the market of Europe. So I noticed that you mentioned about the story. You're talking about the London bus, the double-decker bus. Right. Actually, that project was launched in the year of 2012, since when the London Olympics starts. Right. And they were using lithium iron phosphate battery before, but because this bus is using hybrid application, it's not for the full electric ones, which means that's a very big challenge to the battery. So the thing is, after about 2 years operation, basically it's 1.5 years operation, those lithium phosphate battery does not go through pretty nicely. So which means the capacity drops dramatically, and they need to have a solution. So they came to us and looking for the option about changing those lithium phosphate into the lithium titanate, which is our battery, is LPTO. And now it's almost about 1,000 buses using our batteries are now operating in the city of London. So it's a replacement for the old technology, which is called the LPC, lithium phosphate technology.
Right.
So now it's still operating pretty nicely. We only have about 2 or 3 people. 3 people. Basically, one is for the management, and the other 2 is engineer to service those 1,000 buses in London.
Okay, so you've got 1,000 buses in Chongqing that are powered by your Microvast lithium titanate batteries, and then you've got 1,000 buses in London. Is that correct? Doing the same thing?
In London, that's correct. It's 1,000, almost 1,000 buses.
Are these the double deckers?
Oh, it's double deckers.
Okay.
That's basically new bus for London. That's those new double deckers, not for others.
Okay.
So
now,
this,
are these all electric, or are these all electric, or are they hybrid?
they're all hybrids.
They're all hybrids. Okay.
Yeah, but one correction about Chongqing, we have more than 1,000. It's 1,700 of those buses use those. So that's a lot. So the total number of our electric vehicles using our batteries is roughly about 15,000 in the whole world, let's say, because the majority part actually come from China. That's because the Chinese government is giving a huge subsidy to those electric vehicle implementation, especially in the year of 2014, 2015. So that's why the number goes pretty high.
So so there's another company, obviously, that's into electric buses, and that's BYD.
Yes.
BYD is pretty vertically integrated. They make the batteries, they make the buses. I gather what you guys do is you essentially make the battery packs, and then you supply those to manufacturers, bus manufacturers.
Yeah, that's correct. We also a vertically integrated company, but the difference between us and BYD is we don't make those buses.
Right.
We only make battery systems. So that's using our expertise to make a very let's say a very identified product, or say very because we provide about our product is number one is ultra fast charge. We say that. It's 10 to 15 minutes faster charging, and secondly is long cycle life. As I said, the longest battery that we are using so far is in Chongqing, that back to 6 years ago, which is still operating in a very good condition. And we expecting those batteries can have the same life as a vehicle itself. But certainly, it's most important, which is safe, and titanate obviously is very safe.
Yeah,
so about the vertical, sorry.
No, I was going to say. So who makes the drive systems then? Do the bus makers provide that, or do they have someone? I assume to make this happen, this is an orchestra, and you've got to have a director, and you've got to have people that are providing the drums, people that are doing the violins, people who are doing the horns. So so I'm guessing you guys are working with the drive manufacturer. Do you make the controller system as well, or is it just the pack itself?
Well, usually it is the bus manufacturer who is combining those systems together.
Okay.
So we just provide the battery system to them, and we work with them to make those systems working together. So as you know, for the electric vehicles, the most expensive part is actually the battery, and it's most bottleneck. It's also all the battery. So that's the key technology out there. About the other controller, the electric motor systems, that's existing technologies, which is not our expertise out there. So our vertical integration is basically from the very fundamental of the material research and development, and then to the material manufacturing. We actually have a material manufacturing site, a manufacturing facility in China, and we are doing our own material ourselves, mostly. Not all of them, but the key material is done by ourselves. Then to sell into the battery modules, the battery system. So that's what we do.
Right. So you take and buy the lithium in bulk. You buy I assuming you're using carbon for the anodes. And all of that stuff that are you actually doing processing of those elements as well?
Basically, it's for the key materials. For example, like the lithium titanate, we call it LPTO, because as I just mentioned that we avoid we just improve the gassing issue, so avoid there is any gassing issues happening in the LTO. And that's key material is actually the anode material, which is lithium titanate. We manufacture those type material in house. And because the key technology is we actually modify those products, those materials to ensure there's no gas happening during discharging and during operation. So that's why we have to manufacture our material by ourselves. And secondly, you mentioned about the carbon as the anode. For the second generation, we call it LPCO, which is higher energy density compared with LPTO, but a bit less in the cycle life. The cycle life is still have 10,000 cycles, but the energy density is being improved by almost like 40%. Now goes to the first generation of the LPCO goes to 120 watt-hour per kilogram, and now we go to 140. So we actually that material that battery is not using lithium titanate as the anode, but using, let's say, porous graphite as the anode, which means we have modified the graphite to ensure it has enough of the let's say enough of the surface area to allow the lithium ion to get into the anode during the charging process, which gives it very fast charging capability. We still can do the 15 minutes faster charging. So the next generation of the product we're going to launch is it's going to be 170 watt-hour per kilogram. That is the next generation. We didn't officially launch it yet, but we started to introduce to our customer now, and that is higher in energy density. It's 170 watt-hour per kilogram, but still have the 15-minute faster charging capability.
So let's talk a little bit about let's talk a little bit about the fast charging. Yes. Is this being done? I mean, one of the things that intrigues me over in Europe that they're using fast charging there, and of course Proterra has been using here in the United States, have been using fast charging. But the interesting thing about what they're doing in Europe is they use sort of an overhead catenary where basically the bus pulls up to a stop, the catenary comes down, makes contact, transfers in 5, 15, whatever their charge and their stop cycle is. Is that what you're doing, or are you guys having to basically have somebody take a plug and plug it in during that fast charge period?
We actually have different options. In China, most of those faster charging are using 2 charging guns, because 1 charging gun is only allowed 250 amps. But because faster charging is very high in current, so it's roughly about 500 amps. So that's why we are using two charging guns to charge those batteries, because that's a lower investment. And in China, unfortunately, there is no such kind of regulation about you have to use this kind of pantograph system, as you mentioned. And on the other side, it's more cheap to using the charging guns, to be honest. But in some of the cases, some of the operators in China even they were asking for the pantograph systems. In some of the cities, we are using those pantograph systems when those buses get back to the depot, and we're doing the faster charging or station, because that's fully automatic and it's very safe. And of course, it's not that time consuming. You just stop by in some kind of station, you can charge it automatically. In European countries, they are using pantograph systems for sure. There were some of the there was one case that actually in Germany we have 4 buses operating there, and that is actually belongs to the Zeus project. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that or not, but it's being issued. It's a kind of initiative from the European Union. They were actually looking for 8 cities, and they're trying different bus technologies. So we are one of them. We are cooperating with one of our partners in Europe. That's with the buses operating in Münster in Germany, and the 4 buses. They're actually using a kind of it's not a fully pantograph system, but it's overhead charging, and it's fully automatic. So it's different ways. It depends on different applications. It's not the battery.
Yeah. So these buses that are these MAN buses, or are they buses that are made in China, like North Star, for example?
It's a European bus. In Europe, we only work with the European brands, and it's because the bus qualification, the bus requirements is kind of different compared with in China. A simple example: in China, the bus usually lasts for about 80 years. After 80 years, will be gone. But in Europe, it's usually about at least 10 years, then goes to 14 or 18 years. So based on this, the quality of the product, say, for example, like the framework is totally different, which means we have to follow the European standards by using the European products.
Right.
So fortunately, the good side is we're kind of qualified by the European standard because of our battery technology that can be used in European countries. Not so many battery manufacturers can do that.